I want to bring up one last point because I don't think you were aware of it, but when your officers detained me in that public lobby, the first thing they did was turn off my camera, and that's illegal for them to come up and turn off my camera equipment. I understand that they're going to say that their intent for detaining me and handcuffing me was for officer safety. That's not what they stated. I'm not going to argue that. It doesn't matter. What happened, everyone was heated. What happened, happened. But the fact that your officers came over and the first thing they did was to turn off my recording device versus search me, which is allegedly why they restrained me, that looks really bad to the public. The public goes, yeah, they're not over there checking the guy for weapons. The guy said he's walking out. He's not a threat to them. They've now just snatched him up and turned off his recording device to keep him from recording. And whether that's their intention or not, that's how it looks to the public. So you might want to let your officers know, hey, you can get sued for turning off a person's camera. Now, if you've legally arrested them, that's a different story once they're arrested. But when you're detaining someone, you don't have the legal authority to turn off their recording devices. And I'm sure that sergeant did not know that, but he needs to know it because someone else may file a lawsuit.
Right. Well, thanks for bringing that to my attention. I don't know the exact circumstances.
Get a little closer to their clock just to make sure it comes up on the video, but it is right there. And again, that's their clock. I don't have access to it. It's behind a secured area, so can't go back and say, oh, you edited your film, blah, blah, blah. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Can we help you today?
Are you here to address my complaint? Sergeant came, and oh, you're a lieutenant?
Well, I'm asking you, how can we help you today?
You're Lieutenant Lopez, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here to address an issue I brought up earlier about illegal and improper signage here.
What's that?
You've got illegal no trespassing signs over here. You've got illegal towing signs over there. Hey guys, I'm not. Do you guys feel threatened by me right now? I mean, there's three of you surrounding me. Okay, I just want to make sure you don't feel threatened.
Did you address your complaint with the city attorney's office because they're the ones that approved that signage?
Well, here's the issue.
It's no longer a police department issue. You need to take it to the city attorney's office.
Well, Lieutenant Lopez, it's a issue for the city police department if officers are giving unlawful commands to citizens based off of signs that they don't understand or that they don't understand the intent of the sign.
Do you understand the signs? That's what you're telling me.
Oh, I understand the signs perfectly. Just like I understand the sign right out here says I can bring a firearm in this lobby, but your officers tell me they'll arrest me. Yeah, that sign that you're pointing to. Here, I'm gonna.
Do you have a firearm with you right now?
This sign that you're pointing to,
Yeah.
Lieutenant?
Do you have a firearm with you right now?
Do you understand what that sign
I'm asking
means?
you a question. Do you have a firearm with you?
Well, I understand you're asking a
Do
question.
you have a firearm with you right now?
Do you suspect I do? Do you suspect I have a firearm?
Obviously, you talked to the other officers and they said that you were going to be arrested if you came in with one.
The same officer told me I'd be arrested if I filmed in here, but I'm filming you right now, aren't I? So you understand.
So obviously it was a concern to you. Do you have a firearm right now?
Okay, I'm going to answer your question out of concern for these gentlemen's. Respectfully, I don't have a firearm on me.
That's all.
My bigger.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
My bigger question is, why do officers tell people they cannot bring the firearm in here and that they'll arrest them if they do?
Because in here, this is a prohibited area.
No, it's not.
There is signage here.
That sign specifically
Okay.
states you can bring a firearm in
What's
here.
your first name?
Sir, that
What's your
sign,
first name?
hold on, you tell me there's signage,
Okay.
and I'm
If
pointing
I
at it
can't
and
help you
recording
today,
it.
I've already told you, if you have an issue with signage, the city attorney's office is in that direction.
The problem's not with the sign, the problem's with officers who don't understand what the sign
No, you
means.
just told me the problem is with the signage.
No, the problem with this sign is that your officers are telling people they will arrest people for walking in here.
If you have an issue with the verbiage on the signage, the city attorney's office is at Public Safety Headquarters. Please go over there and address the complaint at that point.
Lieutenant,
We're done, sir. Thank you very much.
you're done because you're an idiot. You're gonna tell me that it's illegal for me to carry a firearm in here? Well, guess what? I have a firearm on me.
Turn around.
I'm gonna walk out the door. That's what I thought. Bunch of idiots.
Relax, relax.
Hey, I'm
You
relaxed.
have a firearm with you right now.
You're arresting me, why? Why are you putting me in cuffs?
Because
Here too.
you were very aware of that sign there.
I'm very aware of that sign right there that says licensed handgun holders may be temporarily disarmed, but that I'm allowed to bring a weapon in here, and that your officers are
Do you
idiots.
have a firearm in here?
I'm not consenting to any search. You're an idiot, sir. You are a complete
Are you
idiot.
sure there's no weapon?
Sir, if you take anything out of my backpack, you can feel it without... Don't go in my backpack.
I don't feel a firearm.
Exactly.
So why did you want to lie to the police?
Why would I lie to the police? Why would you lie to me saying that sign says I can't bring a firearm?
Please turn that way.
Until you're done.
I'm complying with I'm complying with
right
you.
now.
Why would you lie to me and then expect me not to lie to
Right
you?
now is please leave the premises and we cannot help you. If you refuse to leave the premises, you will be arrested for criminal trespass.
So now you're telling me, excuse me,
We're done. You can leave now.
excuse me. I have a question for you. If you want to give me an unlawful order and not address it, that's on you.
You need to leave.
Again, you just searched me under the guise that it's illegal for me to walk in here with a firearm, knowing
You were aware of the sign.
the sign right there says I can walk in here with a firearm.
To walk out that door.
Excuse me, sir. No, we're discussing why you believe this sign allows you to arrest people for having a firearm.
Leave the premises.
You need to leave. I'm walking out. You, sir, are a piece of shit. A lying piece of shit. That's not what I'm looking for. When you put on a name tag, you can start giving orders. Sorry, who are you? Who are you? I'm looking at this map that's on the wall. You just keep talking. So. So this is a city info center, and this security guard, well, he alleges to be a security guard. He won't identify himself, but he says I can't look at the map that's clearly posted on the wall for a reason. Interesting. Guess you're going to tell me I can't look at this map too, but you're wrong. Now, while you can say that you don't want me to look at that map all you want, I'm going to go walk up to the map and record it. If you have a problem with that... Okay. Okay, well... That's fine. You go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead and do what you want to do. I'm going to film this map. If you want to walk over here, that's your business. There you go. I filmed what I needed to film. Understand you're saying you're just doing your pass-on log, but that map is for the public. I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Speak to the city?
Need a mask?
Sorry, was your comment speak to the city?
I said, you need to speak to the city.
I don't. I just walked over there and filmed the thing. That's not an issue.
You need a mask? You need a mask to be in here.
So you understand that you represent the city when you talk to people who come in here looking for information, right? And being rude to those people is not the way to go about that.
Can you send me a police officer, please? 422 East Commerce. I have a gentleman, I told him not to go to a certain area, and he told me that he could, that I didn't have to pay no attention to me, and then when I started wearing a name tag, then I could speak to him. I just want him off the property, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
We have to purchase the river cruise tickets. Where can we get those tickets? Any idea?
For what?
River cruise.
The river boats?
Yeah.
Go down here, not this restaurant, the next restaurant, you'll see some black steps, take those down to the river walk, and then walk back that way about a half a block.
Okay.
So going back to my point about, in order for you to have any authority as a security guard in the state of Texas, you have to be in uniform. And until you put on a name tag, you're not in uniform. So you can consider whatever you tell people advice, but it has no authority. And you just enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm just going to let you know.
I'm recording it right now as well.
Yeah, I understand that. So Officer Rudiman, well, I'm just going to go over for my camera real quick to explain what's going on.
Okay, well, I need your information right now because you're going to get a criminal trespass warning.
Okay.
I understand that you're saying that this is a public area that you could be in here, but this is technically, it's open to the public, but it's private. So if they want to issue a criminal trespass warning, not to come back on their property, on private property that is open to the public, then I have to get your information, and then I have to verify the information so I could document it, so you don't go back on their property. Okay?
You
so
might I'm not going to give you any
Okay,
information.
well then, I'll just arrest you for failure to ID. That's fine.
You can arrest me for failure ID.
I need your information so I can put it on there, so I could for criminal trespass.
Criminal
Trespassing is a Class B misdemeanor.
It is a Class
Okay.
B misdemeanor.
So I need your
I have not.
information.
Okay, first of all, Officer Rudiman, I have not criminally trespassed because I
Well-
left the
Well,
property.
technically, when he called us, you weren't leaving, sir. So technically, you were criminal trespassing. Yes, when we walked up, yes, you walked out of the establishment. But when you were asked already to leave, you did not leave. So technically, under law, you are under criminal trespass. So if you don't want to give me information, that is totally fine. I'll go down, I'll arrest you, I'll fingerprint you, and then we'll go from there. I don't know why you're trying to argue with me about this.
I'm
you
not.
could just provide your information. I could document it. I could verify the information, knowing that is you, and then I could tell you, hey, you got a criminal trespass warning, not to come back to this location, and then you just don't come back. It's as simple as that. If you want to keep going around and around and around, that's fine too. I got all day. It's my job. But I got to enforce the law, okay? So,
and I agree with you. You have to enforce the law.
Will you give me your information or not?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and turn this off because you're going to arrest
Yeah,
me
no,
for
you can
not
turn it off,
providing
that's
my
fine.
ID. So, for those of you who are watching my ongoing saga with the city of San Antonio, I'm down at Shiloh's Deli. You see, I'm eating some Schwein Schnitzel, potato salad, corn. This is at 424 East Commerce, but according to Bexar County Appraisal District, it's at 422, which is why officers keep saying that that property is private property. It belongs to the owners of this establishment and the establishment next door on the other side, which is another restaurant. So either way, all the legwork that I've had to do over a simple guy telling someone he couldn't enter a city building with a firearm is amazing. But I got the chance to get some excellent schnitzel, great potato salad, corn's excellent here. So if you're down here, avoid that information center, but definitely stop at Shiloh's Deli. Again, it's a great place. When I called down to the business owner to ask them if they own that property, and I was going to ask if they do, what are their views on why they still have city signs. Of course, they're like, no. And we've tried to get that corrected by Bexar County for years, but they won't do it. Makes you wonder why city properties are continually popping up as being owned by other entities, and the tax appraisal on that property, we're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars. How does the county account for that? Do they just bill it to whoever they want? We'll look into that later. Mary's to complain about the activities down at 422 East Commerce. How are you doing? Yes, I need to talk to somebody regarding your property at 422 East Commerce. They have some illegal signs up there that the city needs to address, as well as some inappropriate behavior by your employees down there.
What kind of signs are you talking about?
That sign right there. That sign needs to come down. The city attorney's working on it. I understand that, but like here, you have a closed facility. It's not open to the public.
We have nothing to do with those signs.
I understand
We're
that.
parking enforcement. We have nothing to do with signs and weapons allowed in the building.
I understand, but you have the Centro training room right here. That's for your Centro Info
That's for my
Center.
parking enforcement officers.
Okay, so
That's not central. Those are all big guns. Yes.
okay, so that's not Centro Info.
That's the other office around the corner.
No, that Centro there is a nonprofit. I'm talking about Centro Info, which is a city-run organization. The Centro around the corner, the guys with the yellow shirts, they're a nonprofit organization. They don't
Yes,
work
I
for
know
the
they
city.
have nothing to do with that either. So
Okay.
you're basically in the wrong office.
Okay, so
If you want to talk about signs, it would be the TCI right-of-way office. I can give you the
He's talking about the no weapons allowed sign in the building.
that sign actually, James Kopp, your city attorney's already working on it. The only reason I came down here is because the Centro training room sign that's here, I was referred to this location by another city employee saying, well, that's where they do the training for that location, so you have to come here to complain. So
That's what used to be. It's like that's an old decal.
okay, so do you know where they moved that Centro training to? Okay, so nobody knows where Centro training went to. Is this still downtown operations? Is this the downtown operations hub?
Yes, sir, this is still downtown operations, but this is the parking enforcement section.
Okay, where are the other downtown,
Operations, they're in the city tower, at the old Frost building.
the old Frost building? What's the street address there?
Who's the address for the Frost building?
It's between Flores and Maine.
It's right
Between-
on Orange, it's the Frost building,
Okay, the old Frost Bank building?
Yes.
The historical Frost.
yes, not the new one, not the new glass one, the old one.
Okay, and that's going to be downtown. Okay, well, I do appreciate your time. I'm an activist. I work on things. I know you're saying the sign's not your problem, but any city building that's open to the public, just in case you do have someone who comes in, the law did change. They can wear a firearm in here. That sign is going to get taken down, but signs take time to come down.
Once we get word from our city attorney's office to change the signs and everything,
Well,
we'll do it.
that's,
So
I'm
we
just
haven't gotten any word.
yeah, no, I understand that. I'm not trying to put you in a legal bind. Like I said, I work with the city attorney. I let him know when I see those signs so that the city doesn't get sued. I'm just letting you know for your information if someone, some people are jerks about it. They're like, no, you can't. And then it's not worth arguing with them. Okay,
No problem,
you
sir.
have a good day.
Well, thank you. You too. Have a good day.
So, once again, city employees tell me to go to the wrong place, and I go to the wrong place. They have the old sign up there saying that's where it's at, but now they're saying to go down to the Frost building, so that's where I need to go now. I'm going to go ahead and pause my body camera. So I'm in the downtown area. I'm at Houston and Jefferson right now. This distillery isn't open yet, but just sitting here chilling, having a cigarette, trying to catch up on some phone calls before I head off to some other things. I tried to make contact with Lieutenant Lopez. I tried to make contact at 400 North St. Mary's. The Centro Training Center sign is still up there, but they said that city operations is for another area. At that point, I went to the building they told me to go to. They said, no, they're not here. Maybe try 1901 South Alamo. So I said, oh, forget that. I'm just going to stop by and talk to the lieutenant. I have time-sensitive stuff I need to work on. So the lieutenant's not here today. Again, today is the 7th of September. And when I spoke with him yesterday, he said he was going to contact the San Antonio Police Academy and see why officers have a misunderstanding of 3802 and why 90% of the officers believe that they can arrest you for failure to ID when they've only detained you. They don't understand that they can only arrest you for failure to ID after you have been lawfully arrested. Either way, he may follow up on that at home. He may not. I don't know. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. Right now, I'm going to try to call Mr. Cop and cover some of the signs and go over that issue with him.
I'm either on the phone or away from my desk. Please leave a message after the tone.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Mr. Cop, this is Troy Reese. I know it was a long weekend. You probably haven't even got the voicemail, but just an update. The location at 422 East Commerce, it's right next to the police substation, the one with the 30-06 sign. That also still has a no weapons in city buildings sign. the guard in there on the 1st of September apparently told a tourist from Austin that he could not enter, and the guard refused to identify himself. I stopped by that location to make sure what I'd heard was correct on, I believe it was last Friday on the 3rd. Actually videotaped the guard saying, yeah, he's going to enforce the no firearms in their policy. He refused ID. He refused to wear his name tag as required. So anyway, that guy's going to cost the city a lawsuit. I went by on yesterday to the police department, and I think actually it was on Sunday, on the 5th. I went by the police department, just checking on the sign still. Stopped by there again, went in to use the restroom. Didn't make any contact at all with that guard. I'm like, it's the same guard. There's no sense making any contact with them. I'm sorry, I'll ramble forever. I'll let you get back to that. I do have a lot of other signs to get back with you. If you could leave me a voicemail with your email address, that would be much more effective. Thank you. So I'm leaving Shiloh's, and again, San Antonio's oldest restaurant is what it's saying. Excellent restaurant. Passing back by the Centro Info. Again, this place was opened by the city in 2008. You'll notice that 216 is not in Bexar County's records for the public either, because again, it's a public building. They don't list public buildings because they don't tax public buildings. And again, that's why when officers pull up this thing and they go, oh, see, it's private, because they look and they see it's, they can do that, but they're wrong. So we're going to discuss that with these guys. Hello. Not much. Sergeant Beltran or the lieutenant in today?
Let me check. Hold on.
Okay. So, make myself comfortable here. It may be a long wait. No big deal.
What's up, brother?
Hey, stop by. Not much. You remember the other day, Sergeant Beltran was insisting that that was private property.
I don't know who Sergeant Beltran is.
Okay, I'm sorry. The sergeant who I was speaking with you the other day. Zeldis, I'm sorry, I didn't understand his name. So,
okay.
So I've been confused about this, and I've done a lot of research. It's taken a lot of effort to get to the bottom of it.
Okay.
It doesn't belong to Centro Info. I told you that. I went and pulled all their tax records, went back to why he thinks it's private property. If you pull it up in BCAD, this is why he thinks it's private property. It goes to the restaurant owners who own the next two properties down the street. Shiloh's, okay. And it's not Shiloh's. It doesn't belong to the limited partnership that belongs to both of those, because I discussed that with that business owner. Then I went back to Bexar County, and they said, well, they've been trying to get this cleared up for a while. And I said, so who does it belong to, and why isn't it correct? Mm-hmm. And just like 416, this location, mm-hmm. is not on their appraisal district rolls because it is a non-taxed. It's a police department. They don't put it. Right. That's the same reason that that's not on their tax records. So it is a public building, which is what I asserted from the beginning. I just wanted to make sure that he's aware of that, because again, I know if they pull up BCAD, they're going to go, see, it's private property. It belongs to Shiloh's, but it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
I get you. We talked at roll call the other day about it too, about the criminal trespass, and if you don't leave, then you'd be under arrest for criminal trespass. Then you can ID. But if you're being detained and asked, they all know, hey, you can't. They don't have to ID.
Right.
And so they're aware of it.
Right. And again, like I said, I mean, I put a lot of effort in that. And again, it's the main reason I put so much effort. Anytime I have so many officers telling me, no, it's this way, and I know it's not, I know that it has to come from the top. And that's why when I talk to you, I'm like, great, you're going to go to the academy.
We did.
And again, the same with the private property. I know officers go, God, this guy's a stubborn SOB. Why does he keep doing this? But I'm like, look, it's public property. They've got a placard in there saying when it went up by the city. Why do these guys think it's private property? So again, I had to research all that.
Well, I think it's going to be an individual basis too. It depends who you come across also.
Right.
It's not right. It should be consistent throughout our department. I get that.
It should be, but again, when I tell, and it's like I spoke with Captain Smith a few weeks ago. I spoke to him recently again, but when I was covering, he's up north now.
Randy Smith.
Yeah, when I was talking to him about the signs, I said, I understand why officers read that sign and get it wrong a lot of times. But again, my goal is to make sure that the officers understand that before something bad happens. Because I'm going to tell you, I've been arrested twice when I shouldn't have. But yes, I fight things in court and I go through that process. But it's frustrating. You shouldn't. And again, from my point, the only way to do it in a what I consider civilized is to educate officers. And while I get officers get upset, I'm like, I'm not trying to throw this in your face, but if you tell me again and again and again I'm wrong, I can't, like I was telling Sergeant Zeldis that day, I'm like, I just get it from your chain of command. No matter what I tell an officer, it's not going to matter, because until it comes from the chain of command.
Well, like I told you, when we talked to the academy, I talked to Mara Keene, who teaches penal code. We're going to get in the bulletin. Hopefully, they're supposed to read the bulletin prior to going on duty.
Right.
But they need to read it and be familiarize themselves with it. The difference between detention and arrest.
Right. And on that, like I said, I'd come down here Friday. For some reason, there was miscommunication. Officer Ruderman, yeah, he was here. We had a nice long conversation, a pleasant conversation.
Right.
For some reason, when he opened the door, my vision's not good. I thought it was Sergeant Jerry Tone. I thought he was getting you, so I stayed in thinking I was going to talk to you for probably 40 minutes on Friday. But
I'm off Fridays.
Yeah, but again, like when I spoke with him, I told him, I said, I can see the frustration because you think I'm not telling you the facts, but again, it'll come down from the chain of command. I just trying to make sure that you understand how a citizen perceives that, because
and an educated citizen, someone has done the research like yourself. You do a lot of research, and I thought, when Jim Kopp came here, he told me, he said, this guy knows his stuff.
And I mean, like with the sign, look, some other people, I know you guys have had people come down here. The officers have told me, I know who you are and what you do. You try to get a rise out of us, and I'm like, I'm not like that.
You're a little bit different.
Don't get me wrong. I will flat out tell you, I've had bad interactions with officers, and I will post those. But my intent is not to clown officers. It never has been. But I understand when people see a camera, they go, he's that type of guy. And really, my goal is to make sure that officers are aware of what citizens' rights are, what the limitations, and to keep our city from getting sued.
No, I'm good. Don't worry about it.
I believe, because Officer Ruderman was like, well, I've never seen you before, and I'm like, well, to be honest with you, I go through the downtown area all the time, but because of what I do, I'm not like some of these other guys who look to engage officers if I see an officer doing something that I think is wrong, I'm going to record it.
Right.
If it's really
And
wrong,
that's your right. You
yeah.
you have a right to.
If it's really wrong, I'm going to say something, but I'm not one of those guys who's going to get behind an officer and give him grief while he's doing his job.
Right,
And
interfere.
right, and I mean, I'm mixed. I have mixed feelings because again, I support. I'm a rights activist, so I understand where some of these guys are going, but at the same time, I'm like, there's a better way to do this. There really is, and I mean,
For education.
right. I mean, that's the way I feel. I mean, let's face it. If you educate them and they still want to do something, well, you've done what you can. And it's like I tell people, they're like, oh, you know, I'm like, a good officer will, if once he has the education and knows, he's not going to do it again. You can't control, just like you can't control a guy going out here and being an idiot. I mean, well, you can if you put him in cuffs, and you know, but I mean, bad people are going to do bad things.
You're right.
And the only way to, you know, for me at least, is being proactive. Like I said, I just wanted to get back because the sergeant was insistent that it was, you know, Centro's.
We have it. We already talked about that, and we have it. So
Okay, so
Monday through Thursday, I'm here.
Okay.
Monday through Thursday. I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sundays.
okay,
You can always call me, and you know how to get a hold of me and talk. But if you have any problems with our officers down here, talk to me.
I honestly, I don't think I'll have like issues with individual officers. Something may come up again.
Right.
But and I mean, it's the same as I was explaining. You know, even when your officer was polite and cordial with me, and he's like, you know, you're gonna, and I'm like, look, I'm not, but it's not personal. It's I have to make a point. So now that the officers should know that it's public property,
Yes.
they should be aware that he can't trespass them
No, he
for
can't.
rights violations. I mean, if they're disorderly or
So,
something,
yeah.
yes.
Yes, I get you.
And then that goes back to something for me now, not that, and this is not your problem, I'm just saying it goes back on me. I've already contacted the owner of his company. We discussed things. He's going to review things, get back with
Have
me.
you talked to CEO Mark Brown of Central? Is that what you're talking about?
No. Centro is centrosanantonio.org. They don't run this.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was saying. No, I contacted the guards boss.
Oh, okay.
That is run by the city, but the problem is nobody in the city seems to know which department has authority over there. If you go talk to the female housekeeping person,
Right.
she's a city employee. She gets paid
Right.
by the city.
Right.
No one from Centro gets paid by the
Who
city.
pays the security then?
The city has a contract with AVAIL Security, which is out of,
Third party?
yeah, it's a
Okay.
third-party contract.
Okay.
So he says that the owner of AVAIL, you know, he's like, man, you already put it up online. I'm like, look, you got to understand when if I don't do it and stop it here, someone's going to come down and sue. So, you know, I'm not looking to get your guard fired or whatever, but he needs to wear his name
He needs to
tag.
be educated too.
And he's like, I'll look at it and get back with you. And I'm like, look, you know, it really wouldn't have been an issue at all if I'd have walked in there and the guard had said, yeah, I told him that. I didn't know the law changed, but him insisting he's going to keep enforcing it, that pushes it to that level of lawsuit. And unfortunately, like I was telling Mr. Kopp, even if that's a third-party company, the city's liable because they hired him, and then the officer is liable once the citizen says, no, I'm doing my rights. And so
I got you.
on
Troy,
that,
we appreciate what you do. You know, hey, you educate us also. You know, you're
Right.
obviously out there as an advocate, not just for the people, but for us also.
well, that's
And,
one of the
you know,
things. I get a lot of mixed. I don't have a lot of viewers. I have about 150 people who subscribe to my channel. Most of them are actually rights people, not. I get some people that are cop haters. You're always going to get that. I got people that hate auditors, and I get flack from everyone. And people go, "You're too nice to the police," and I'm like, "You do it your way, but my way works for me. I educate officers so that I get something out of it. I mean, if I wasn't getting something out of this, and that's personal reward, knowing I make my city better,
Right.
I'd be wasting my time. I mean, it really would be."
You're one of the different activists because we get a lot of grief. So you know the names of the people, and We just ignore them. We don't have any time of day. I'm giving you my time because I appreciate you educating the guys out there.
I do really appreciate that, and again, that's one of the reasons that I went back up to the north side to talk with Captain Smith.
Right.
He's also he understood when I talked to him.
Yeah.
I'm not out here to yeah, if your officer misbehaves and I document it, you're going to know about it, but you should. I mean, that's just basic accountability. But
it's good to have eyes and ears everywhere.
And like I said, I have probably had, he had asked me how many officers in San Antonio I'd interviewed about a particular subject. And at that point, I'd interviewed about 60 different officers because I was making a point about weapon signs and them not understanding that. And it wasn't, I wasn't like trying to get officers in trouble. I'm just like, hey, leadership, this is a problem, because I tell you and you say, well, it's 1 or 2 officers. I'm like, no, it's 80%. That's when you need to retrain. And so he's like, wow, you've talked to a lot. I'm like, yeah, and hardly ever any. I mean, yeah, I've had some bad things. I've been searched. But as I was explaining to him, I said, think about it from the officer side. A guy comes up, he's talking to you, he's asking you about weapons. That officer's going to be on edge. And I mean, I actually developed different tactics. I don't know if I told you, when I was asking officers about weapon signs, I started carrying an empty holster, because anytime I asked them before, they'd start checking my body and I could see the tension building. Once I would carry an empty holster, as soon as 9 times out of 10, they wouldn't even notice that until I asked about a weapon sign. Then they'd glance and you could tell, and I'm like, okay, there's an empty holster. My firearm's in my vehicle. It's there. I don't bring it when I talk to officers. So then they relax. But if I didn't have that, they look at like a battery pack or something, and then they're nervous. And I'm like, other people are like, well, why don't you just carry? And I'm like, I can, but that doesn't work for me. It makes the officers nervous.
And they're not listening to you.
Yeah, they're focused. They're focused on a threat, and so, I mean, and like I said, I use different techniques, but in the end, it's all for the betterment of the community. And I really, really appreciate you speaking with me, Lieutenant Barron.
Yes, sir. I'm here. Like I say, man, you call me anytime.
Yeah,
by anytime.
Not a problem. And the good news is Shiloh's got some of my money today, because I told him when I talked to him on the phone, I said, you know what, I'm going to come down there and eat today just because you gave me the information I've been searching for this whole time.
All righty.
Okay.
Take care. Be safe.
Okay, you too. Really nice guy. And that concludes all of this, as far as I know.